All right. This is Richie Contratesi with another episode of Seven Figure Commissions, a series, a part of the Next Play podcast, where we bring on agency owners, agents, sales leaders, people in sales that want to get to the next level, that want to improve their game. And I'm really excited to have on the show today Kristina Martinez, someone who is serious about her business. We're going to talk about her story of how she got into it, but someone who comes on who has showed up today from Billings, Montana, to get better. And so I always have a lot of admiration for people like yourself. So Kristina's been in the industry for 2 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 2 years, and is in the process right now, so close to moving up, getting a promotion, and continuing to build her business. So Kristina, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hi, yes. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. I know you mentioned that this is kind of the first type of show that you've been on, but don't worry about that at all. This is really lax, right? This is about getting better, and everyone that tunes into this has the same mindset. So real quick, in a minute or two, share your story of how you got into this real quick.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I don't come from a sales or business background whatsoever. I previously have, I've been a career student essentially this whole time and tried out many, many different industries, gotten many different degrees, and most recently I was in tech design. I was down near Dallas, Texas, and some things went south with the company I was working for, and I ended up, I was essentially, it's a really funny story. I was sitting in an empty apartment, ready to move my life across the country back up to Montana because I had moved my life down there, right? And I had an old friend of mine give me a call when I was sitting in an empty apartment saying, just to catch up, essentially, and told him about my situation. And he was like, oh, do you need a job? I can get you working, just get settled. And so I did. And it was in the insurance industry. It wasn't with my current company, but it provided me an opportunity to try something new where I had complete control over what I wanted to do with my career. And it just changed everything from there. So I feel really grateful that I had a really zigzagged path of getting here. And it all is incredibly useful. Honestly, I feel like people in sales can come from all backgrounds, and it can be useful. So
I love that. Okay, cool. So let's talk about your what you're doing right now. Like what's a focus for you in your business? Like where do you want to be a year from now? What's the goal for you?
A year from now, I actually have some pretty set goals. I'm working in a satellite office up here in Billings. It's a satellite of the Denver branch. So we are really small right now. And I am, one of very few people in this office, and we're really trying to grow it and build it. And so although I'm still kind of fresh in the industry, I've been really noticed, and people have put, management has put a lot of faith and effort into me to help build me, to build the company or to build the office. So, I'm close to a management promotion, which is amazing. And really, I just want to start building a team. I am really focused on prospecting, of course, to get a paycheck, For sure. But also finding more agents and people I want to work with and who I see potential in, and giving people opportunities, and really just having a team where we can crank some stuff out.
I love that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love that. I mean, the people that get the most out of this are ones that want to be elite leaders, that want to be the best at what they do, and that want to help others do the same under them. So there's two areas here: building your team. However, that's coming up down the road, hopefully in a couple weeks. But let's talk about right now. What would you say is your biggest challenge in getting there right now? Like, what are some things right now that you feel is is the biggest challenge, and let's break that down and see if we can come up with the next play to get you focused and moving forward and improving upon that.
Perfect. Great. I'll tell you right now, it's prospecting. I hate prospecting. I hate it. And but it's like the most essential part of this business, right? So I'm really right now, that's my struggle is continuing to do that consistently. Having the what's the word? Discipline followed with or accompanied with consistency. It's really tough to do that, to reach out to people, who aren't necessarily expecting you to reach out to them.
For sure.
So the way my company's set up, the first 6 months, you kind of have this probationary period where you have to get through meeting certain metrics, and then after that, you have a little bit more freedom. I don't know if freedom's the right word, but anyways, there's kind of a pattern I've been talking to my manager about. Is this the first phase is called the SNA period. It's an acronym. And there's kind of a post SNA slump that they see a lot of agents go through where, we had to rush to meet these metrics. And then there's kind of a slump that follows, and I'm in that right now.
Okay.
So it's difficult because I just exhausted myself a little bit, I think.
Okay.
But I have to get back in it,
Right. So those metrics, like early on, you hit them really fast, and now you're coming down and you're in a slump.
Yeah, it was kind of a rush. I mean, if you don't hit your certain metrics, there's a question about, are you a good fit for this company? And so, mine came down to the last weeks where I was really crunching to make the numbers hit.
Okay.
And I did it, but I'm a little exhausted now.
Okay. So let's break this down. And this question is not always an easy one, but it really helps me get to the core. So what activities do you feel like you should be doing or could be, but aren't doing them?
Dialing as many calls as I should be during the day or during my office days.
Okay.
Definitely.
So making enough dials. Okay. So we just got a comment in. It says Facebook user. So by the way, if you're commenting in, there's a little thing at the bottom that says StreamYard or something. If you put your name in there, it'll show up, but I'll just pop it up here. But one of the users said she ran through her warm market. So was that also part of it?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So basically a lot of people, when they come into the industry, the first thing they do is they reach out to everybody that they know and try to get them in. So a lot of times numbers will be really high. And then when it comes to the cold market, it gets really hard. So that's what they were referencing.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I reached out to my warm market, but softly. I didn't write any business for my friends or family. Honestly, I still haven't to this day. Because of my career history, honestly, being so zigzagged, I think that the people closest to me, they love and support me more than anything, but they also want to make sure that, like, is this going to stick kind of thing.
Right.
The truth, so I really have been hitting the colder markets heavier.
Okay. So let's talk about the calls. When you say you mentioned discipline and consistency, and we'll tap into that. But when you say making enough calls, what do you mean by that, and why not?
Honestly, I'm fairly good on the phones. There's not an issue with that. I think it comes down to just having a little bit of anxiety about talking to strangers, and I think that no matter how good I am at my job, it still sucks getting rejected by strangers at times. And sometimes it's like totally, water off a duck's back, just absolutely nothing. And that's the way it should be, because these people don't know me.
But that's what everyone says.
Right. But there's the honest truth. There's still a little bit of apprehension when it comes to these kinds of things. So that's the big factor.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. Why do you feel so basically you're making calls, you get some rejection, it causes anxiety. What happens? Do you stop making the calls? Do you what happens?
No, I would never, like, if I'm in the zone for dialing, I'm going to keep dialing regardless. But I think it's, when you take a few days off and those first phone calls you have to make, you have to get back in motion. And that is the toughest part. So really, I think I just need to get in motion, but I'm also exploring other means of prospecting where things that maybe aren't so cold. Or honestly, like, if I've dialed somebody, that makes them a little bit warmer. I can dial them again. I can follow up at a different time of day. I can send them a letter now. I can door knock them. I don't know. I feel like I want to exhaust my leads to completion before I completely let them go, and maybe that's another issue.
Yeah, so let's talk about walk me through your, like, what calls are you making? Like, who are these calls to? How are you getting these leads? What does that look like?
Okay, so our company provides the leads. We are sister companies with Colonial Penn, who has
Okay.
TVs or ads all over TV, of course.
Yeah.
So a lot of our leads come through them.
Okay.
People who are actively looking into life insurance. Some of them are really excited, or maybe not excited, thankful that I call. Some don't remember
Doing the lead.
at all, of course. But we get those. We also get other life leads through our company directly. We get people turning 65 because we deal with Medicare a little bit, Advantage plans, supplements. And then we also do annuity business and extended care. So another means of prospecting is existing clients, or existing clients who don't have active agents anymore, things like that.
Got it. Okay. So how many leads are you currently getting a day?
It varies. Each day is a little bit different. We have 2 office days, which is when we get assigned leads, and that could be anywhere from 10 to, I don't know, 100, honestly, depending on the day. On average, I would say maybe around the 50 mark.
Okay. Per day?
So twice a week, yeah.
Twice a
But
week.
we also
Okay.
have an entire log of clients, like thousands and thousands and thousands of clients, or potential clients.
Okay. Where are you spending most of your time? With the current clients or calling the new leads?
New leads.
Okay. How come?
That's I don't know. No reason in particular. I have switched up my focus a little bit. There was a couple weeks where I was focusing on orphans only, existing clients without an agent. And yeah, so I'm open to experimentation.
For sure. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Are you tracking everything that you're doing?
As far as, well, yeah, pretty much everything. Yeah, I've got dial
Okay.
trackers, I've got door knock trackers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So just to give me some perspective, and I think this is going to help a little bit. For the month of April, how many total leads have you been assigned? How many leads have you gotten?
That's a good question. I don't have that actual number, but let's see. The month of April,
How many calls have you made this month?
not as many leads as I've been given, that's for sure, because I've been in a slump.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
There. But let me take a look here. I do actually have how many.
Good. So we can get into the data, and I guarantee we're going to find it.
Okay. I would say maybe around, for the month of April, I've made maybe around 200 dials, which is
Okay.
also, let me throw in this bit of context that even our office here in Billings compared to Denver, the ratios are different because we get a lot more answers here in Montana.
Right.
Because the entire state's under one area code. So if you're calling on the area code, people answer.
Totally.
So what is 50 dials here in Montana is like 200, 300 in Colorado.
Got it. Okay. So let's say you made 200 dials. How many people did you talk to of those 200?
I would say it's about 1 out of 5 that I talk to.
Okay. So that would be 40?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And of those 40 people, how many of them did you have, like, are you moving forward with them on that initial call, or are you connecting with them and booking a separate call?
I connect and then book a separate call unless
Okay,
it's a special circumstance.
got it. How many of those 40 booked a second call with you?
I would say maybe 3 out of 5 would be my fraction for it.
Okay,
Or
so would that be
the
30?
lower end.
Like
Yeah,
30 people? Okay.
sure.
And of those 30, how many of those made it to you sharing with them a potential option? Like, we'll call that pitching them.
Yeah,
Or actually, how many of those 30 showed to the session?
that's another thing. Of those 30, I would
Mhm.
say about half, so 15.
So 15 showed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how many of those did you get an opportunity to actually present them options?
Of 15, I would say 5.
Got it. Okay. That's a thing. And then of those 5, how many of those bought?
I'm sorry, let me change that. Pitching, I pitch to every single person I sit with, just about. So of 15 people I sit with, let me say that it's about 10 out of 15 that I pitch and
Okay.
maybe 5 that I sell.
Okay. So 5 people have bought so far this month.
I don't know the exact number for you, but this is just, the rough ratio
Yeah.
in my head. So yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. So based on what you're sharing with me right now, and now that it's kind of like seeable on paper, like you said, the connection rate is really good. Like you're connecting with people. How long do these meetings take? Like if you had 15 meetings, how long are they typically? An hour?
An hour, hour and a half if they, are talkers.
Okay. When you were doing really well, what were your numbers? Like if we were to go through this line by line again, like what was your best month?
My best month, probably January or February, but I'm sorry, I don't have exact numbers with me today. It's everything is, documented but not boiled
Fair.
down.
Okay.
My best month, I think, I'm sorry, as far as what number do you want? Like cases sold or?
Yeah, I was just curious. Like, if you don't have the numbers, don't worry about it. I just wanted to go through these numbers again and see if there's any differences in your conversion rates across them,
Mhm.
to see if there's any changes. Like, was it your show rate? Was it your pitch rate? Was it your close rate? Do you see what I'm saying? I was just trying to figure out if there's any discrepancies.
Okay. It's honestly a huge thing I've been noticing lately is the show and close rate have been sticking out to me a little bit. Um, I
Okay,
I think I'm fairly good at tying appointments down, but honestly, a lot of people just don't show even when I, did multiple
totally.
downs. So
Yeah. Okay. Actually, a comment came in. It says, "I wonder if it's a company procedure for the second call." For what you do, when you catch them, can you go through the whole process on that first call, or does it need to be on Zoom? Why the second call?
yeah, typically I really actually was hitting heavy with trying to do phone appointments in the beginning. But the
Mhm.
way that my company is structured is we do a really thorough job because we don't just do one type of insurance.
Yeah,
We really try to help people kind of uncover their needs and whatever. So um, I was primarily focusing on doing phone appointments in the beginning because I thought it would save me time and resources and whatever. I couldn't close a thing. It just people didn't trust who they were talking to on the phone, and
totally. Totally.
so I from there I would now when I'm prospecting, I'll set an appointment on the initial phone call to then visit them, either go to their house, they come into the office, we set up a Zoom, or last resort, do a phone call. So it's
Beautiful. Okay,
really
cool.
the purpose is to get in front of them.
Totally. So you're doing it over Zoom
Mostly in person, very few
or
in
in person? Okay, so these sessions in person.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So when you're meeting them in person and they're still not showing?
Yeah, a lot of people either won't show up to the office, or I'll get to their house and they'll either not be there, or they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I'm in the middle of something. I can't right now." Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think like we could totally talk about the close rate, but I think the lowest hanging fruit for you, just looking at these numbers, um, is the show rate, right? Because that's a simpler thing. A close rate could be many things. It could be the pitch, it could be the discovery, it could be, the questions you're asking, we could be talking about all the different objections you could be getting. And I think there's a lot of plays to put in place. But if we were to simplify and put a play together today, that would make the biggest impact. I think it would be around the show rate. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with you. Yeah, because
Okay.
that is the big question. That's the biggest question. Why aren't they showing up when we had a solid set appointment?
Totally. So just so you know, this is a universal. A
Yeah.
lot of people have this challenge. So, couple things. How are like the set is so important. Number one, how you're setting it, how you're tying down is important.
Mhm.
What you're sending them before is important. Connecting in their calendar is important. Sending text messages before are important. So real quick, what are you currently doing from setting the appointment to the appointment itself? What are you currently doing right now to increase the show rate?
It's a great question, Richie. I feel like I could be doing more just by the way
Okay.
it's set up.
That's
Um,
okay.
I what I'm currently doing is I run through multiple tie downs on the phone,
Okay.
initial phone call, really make sure, grab a pen and paper, let's put it in your calendar. If you can't, let's, write it in the air, or if they're driving or something, or they can't write it down at that moment, I'll offer, okay, well, I can send you a text message or an email, appointment confirmation when we get off the phone. Um, and if not, if they have it, they're all good. I typically will, if the appointment is within 2 or 3 days, I won't have any other follow-up with them. But if it's any longer than that, I will typically offer, to again send them appointment confirmation either via text or email,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sorry, no, if it's gonna be, if it's that situation, I would offer to give them an appointment reminder phone call, like the day before, or
Mm-hmm.
an email. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Got it. So let's talk about all the technical stuff. But before we do, I want to talk about the set.
Okay.
What are you doing to create excitement for the meeting on that initial phone call?
Um,
What's the value? So let's say, Christina, we're on the phone, and because like typically if they come in and they're setting the appointment, sometimes it's really easy, and then you're like, wow, that was really easy, and then they don't show, right? So what are you doing to create the excitement? And so another way of saying this would be, and we use this saying a lot, is what are you doing to create the gap, right? Or between where they are now, where they want to go. Like, what are you doing to create that space and then the excitement for them to be like, I've got to meet with Kristina?
oh my gosh, probably not a whole lot. Well, no, I don't think I'm honestly saying anything too exciting. I wanna grab this here and
Do you have a set script? Are you using any type of script, or do you have a certain questions that you're asking before you set the appointment? Like, how are you doing that?
yeah, really, that's essentially it. Is for each different type of client, we have a different set of scripts,
Mhm.
and ask them basic health screener questions, um, to get a little bit more prepared myself as to what kind of situation I'm walking into. Maybe a light overview of their goals, what their intent was for looking into this,
Mhm.
and uh, let's see.
What's the pitch? Why meet with you? After they've answered those questions and you're like, okay, this could be a qualified appointment.
Yeah.
What's the pitch?
The pitch is, you know, let's get this taken care of so you don't have to do any more searching, essentially. We can make this, fairly simple. Just, let me help you come up with a customized or personalized plan that is actually suitable for you, because not everything is a one-stop shop. And we want to make sure that we're doing the best for your circumstances, getting a clear picture of your situation so that we can recommend something that's actually suitable for you and is going to benefit you, so that you don't have to, keep calling in on commercials and whatever to hope that you can cover these things.
Right. Okay.
So,
And are you saying that on every call?
it's a little bit different on every call, but the gist of it, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's like, I like it. Do you feel like it's if you were on the other end of that, you'd be like, I've got to be on this meeting?
No.
Okay. That's okay. So
No, you're right. That's a good question.
So the thing with show rates, there's a lot of things, right? Like we could talk about sending a video beforehand to get them acclimated on the value. Um, Sending reminders, like I don't know if your CRM does this, but if you send a calendar, can you get it so that sends them text and email reminders, texting them the night before? These are all things that are really valuable and important. But none of those things will work if there's no excitement for the call. There's no, and I like the value, not having to, you said two things: save you time, right? You're not having to continue to do this. We're going to find a good fit for you. There's two things people value a lot, right? Their time and their what?
They're I don't know.
Their time and their money, right?
Time and their
How
money.
much,
Okay.
yeah, time. How much time am I going to have to spend? How much time could I save? And am I going to save money, right? Time
Yeah.
and money. These are the things. So based on that, what do you think you can say to create the excitement where they're like, I've got to meet Kristina? And just think a little differently. I've got to save him time. I'm going to save him money. I'm going to like, what are they? What's the value?
Well, honestly, if somebody continues to wait to get any type of insurance, really the math works against them, even though at first glance you would think opposite. So the longer you wait, the older you get, the more expensive things get.
100%.
And you know it doesn't mean, okay, well, I'm just going to wait another year to save a year's worth of premium. If you do the math, it's actually cheaper the earlier you start, even in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's just, stop wasting time. I don't really know how to put that, but that would be a really good thing to put together.
Yeah. And you can do it in the form of questions. So something along like, are you asking them like, how much time have you been doing this? If you, I'm just curious, if you were to wait, XYZ, it might cost you this. Like, and just asking the questions and getting them to the realization on, if I do wait, it's going to cost me this much if I don't get this handled now. So, there's two things. There's saving them time, saving them money, and then there's urgency and scarcity, right? And if we have to tap into all of these different levers in order to get them to the realization, like, I better meet with Kristina, and Kristina's going to provide me like a crazy amount of value. Like, this isn't just going to be a sales pitch that I have to sit through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think as far as like a next play, and it might not be something you put together this second, but I think a good next play may be putting together something, your line of questioning, or looking at your line of questioning and how you can create urgency, how you can create scarcity amongst it, which is challenging in what you do, and also what's going to be the value for them. So at the end of the call, you could say, look, if I can, help you with this, this, and this, and you were able to walk away with this and this, would that be of value to you? Yes. Okay, cool. Just curious, how much value, Kristina? How much value would that be? Oh, it would be this, this. Okay. So then what you're saying is it's advantageous for us to meet like in the next few days. Yeah. Okay, cool. And why is that? Well, it's because if I don't, then now you're getting them to sell you on it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. Cool. So So, and then you can go through the technical stuff. So let's put it on the calendar. I'm going to send you a calendar invite. Everyone should get a calendar invite. Everyone should get a text message. Do they get auto email and text reminders for your appointments?
Not auto ones, no.
Okay. Is that something that's set up is that in can you set that up in your CRM?
No, I don't think so, but I can set it up for myself. I mean, I'm honestly still I have a small enough clientele that it wouldn't be too much of a burden, and I'm incredibly organized with my clients and Excel sheets and everything, so it would be nothing to new appointments or whatever, or even just like a nightly, like I have my nightly like clock out tasks or whatever, just adding that.
Must be mandatory. Yeah. Well, so one thing that you can look at is, it's a pretty popular tool. It's called Calendly. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Have you thought about using that?
I haven't, but that's a good idea. I've used that in my previous business. So yeah, I didn't even think about that.
A lot of CRMs do it, but I would highly suggest implementing that. And basically you would just book the appointment for them. And so it's auto putting it into their calendar. So one of your questions needs to be, what calendar do you use? What calendar do you use every day? What's the email associated with that calendar? Okay, perfect. Would you like me to send you a calendar? Of course. Okay, perfect. Now you fill it out, it sends them the calendar, and then it'll have it set up where it also texts them the reminders and emails them the reminders automatically.
Okay. Could I still use a system like that for individuals who don't even have email addresses? Because a lot of my clientele are older and they don't use their phone calendars or anything like that. It's old school for them.
They get text messages?
Typically, yeah. So I could still send them messages.
100%. I think you could just I would still use Calendly because it puts it on your calendar. I mean, obviously I'm sure you have a calendar, but it'll put it on there and it'll still say, even if you don't put an email, it'll still text them.
Okay.
The reminders. Awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And because you have time, I would call the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, no matter what. Like, why wouldn't you call the day before? Is there something
I've heard both sides of it. I've heard, don't call them. I've heard do call them because
they get out of it.
Yeah, it's an excuse to get out of it. Exactly. And I've seen it both ways too.
But anybody that says that it's an excuse to get out of it but why would they say that? Because there wasn't enough what on the set?
Enough value or excitement, if you will.
It's purely about setting is all about widening the gap and creating value. The gap, what I mean by that is the gap between where they are and where they could be.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're not there is pain, time, money. Mm-hmm. And if they were there, save time, money.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And at the end of the call, they're like, okay, can't wait to meet with you. I'm excited to learn more about this.
Yeah. And I guess if they do cancel, then that's, saving me time. I'm not having to deal with a no-show unexpectedly kind of thing.
Totally. Like if the fear of the canceling, I get it. I totally do. But it's if you have the value, it won't matter. And if they cancel, it doesn't matter because you're making enough calls and you're getting yourself enough opportunities that you want people like that to cancel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to pick your clients a little bit too.
Cool. So I think as far as a next play for you, I kind of have two, if that's okay.
Oh, please. That's great.
Okay, so one is to look at your script and then find I'd have to look at your script, but find ways in your script to ask, and you might want to listen back to that kind of like little role play I did to ask questions to get them to sell you on why they need to do the appointment. The more you're talking about the program and the packages and all that stuff, that won't work. It's the questions you're asking to get them to the realization that if they don't make a move, urgency, then they're not going to save time and they're not going to save money. And the scarcity factor is that, Kristina, you're only one person. You can't do face-to-face appointments with everybody all day, every day, right? Yeah. Your time is valuable. So in that set, you have to make that clear. And I think we have to do it in a very strategic way. That's not a turnoff. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
I know it's a lot, but let's just start with a simple form of this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through the appointment, you're going through your questions. At the end, I want you to think purely in terms of value. What's the value that they're going to get out of that session? And just share that with them. Let's really simplify this and share that value with them. Okay. And then ask them afterwards, do you feel like this is going to be a really good use of your time? Yes. Okay. Let's set the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? Just to really simplify this.
Do you want me to come up with something right now, or are you asking thoughts on that?
That's going to be your play, is to write that out.
Yeah, no, that's actually really helpful. That's one aspect of it that I really haven't thought about, because it's really difficult to try to, there's so many aspects of this job, and it's difficult to try and understand the client's experience as well as how do I do a good job. You're really playing two roles before it even plays out, or even in real time. So no, that's going to be really helpful. I think that is a very big issue for me, causing the excitement for it, because I think I've been pretty focused on not losing them or not losing their interest, and at least just tying it down.
That makes people run away.
Yeah, you're right.
So cool. I love this. So Kristina, you get it. The mindset is getting them to tie you down.
Mm-hmm.
And so time and money, I want you to think time and money.
Okay.
And then think urgency and scarcity.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Urgency. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. That's great. This is going to help like the whole office. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. Okay, cool. So the other thing I would say is, because I know you mentioned this, and this is a big thing, and a lot of people go through this, and I don't want you to go through this anymore. Okay. Obviously, like our whole motto at Next Play is, what's the most important play is the next play. You have a bad call, you have something that goes wrong, you get rejected. The most important play is the next one. It's good in theory. It sounds good. It's definitely made an impact on my life and others, but I wanted to make an impact on yours, Kristina. So I think the simplest way to do this for you is to think about, because we got to get your call volume up, right? We got to. Yeah. So instead of focusing on how many meetings you're setting, I want you to focus on how many no's that you're getting. Okay.
Yes, I love that. Okay.
All right. And this is kind of this isn't this whole new thing that I'm making up, I promise.
But yeah, I've heard of it. I've tried it a little bit, but I've lost focus from it.
Yeah. And it's a mindset thing. And so on your notepad, so here's the second play. On your notepad, what I would write down and start a new sheet every day, and we kind of map this out, is how many leads have you gotten that have come to you? How many calls have you made? Okay. How many connects? How many meetings booked? Okay. How many of those showed? And then how many offers have you made? And then how many closed? Okay. And I know that's kind of a lot, but the sales people, I'm telling you, that track this stuff on a daily basis and then review it on a weekly to find where they're falling short, are the ones that can consistently find ways to improve every single week, right? And so the way that you would do this is and I'll kind of map it like this on a sheet. Can you see that?
Yes.
So like how many leads, calls, and all you have to do, and you'll space it out differently, right, is something like this. So it's like, for sake of time, I'm not going to, whoops. Like something like that.
For sure. Okay.
All right. And then at the end of the week, you're going to add this all up, and let's see, how many leads did you get? How many calls, how many connects down the line? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lot more metrics that I'm tracking for myself right now.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So I just want to go through the comments here. What's up, Mr. Frazier? How you doing, man? James put in here. Even some here, let me just throw it up. Even some sort of magnet that they get when you meet with them. Just a thought. I was going to say she need to get the book Go for No. Okay, yeah, that's another one too. There's a book Go for No. But yeah, so play 1, let's focus on the excitement. Play 2 is every day I would track your numbers like this. And I hate giving 2 plays, but they're just really both important right now for where you're at.
I love giving you 2 plays. So
okay. And then track the numbers on where you're at. Okay. And on the meetings booked, you're gonna have meetings booked and you're gonna have no's and tally both of them. And I want you to get, how many no's do you typically get a day?
Oh gosh.
If you are making the number of calls that you know you should be.
If like no's out of people I actually talk to?
Yes.
No's per day. Oh my gosh. Well, my ratios really aren't too bad for people I talk to versus appointments booked. So
shoot for 5.
Okay. Shoot for 5. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot less than I'm getting right now. I'll say that. So.
Okay. Like, and you hit that 5, boom, but don't stop. I'm just saying, like, I want you to, that's a goal. Does that make sense? Like, because what's going to happen. So here's the thought process behind this. You're shooting to get this many no's. And as a result of that, you're going to get this many meetings, right? And because you're staying consistent with making the calls and you're getting the no's, your no's are going to go down, right? Because you're going to get better. It's just like the more consistent and the more often you're doing it, you're going to get better. So that won't be always the goal. But for now, it's like, if you've gotten 1 or 2 no's and you're feeling down or you're getting anxious, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I got to go because I got to book more meetings. I got to get more no's. I know if I get 2 more no's, I'm going to get 3 more meetings or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then over time, you're just going to get really good and it won't matter anymore. Cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Tracking more metrics is really going to help me because that's, you're able to see the big picture and see where this side is affecting this side and affecting this part, so
totally.
That's great. Thank you.
Cool. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, for everyone that is here and has been a part of the show today, thank you so much. Obviously always chat, ask your questions, put them in the box. I love interacting with all of you. Kristina, thank you so much for being on the show. And for everyone else, I will see all of you on the next one.
All right. Adios.